Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev Elzia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful, much warmer day than it was last week, the past couple of weeks, so yay. I'm Alice Nutter, a practitioner here at CSL Denver, so I invite you to move into an invocation with me. If it's comfortable, close your eyes, sit back in your seat, just take in a nice deep breath, and just let go of all that it took to get here this morning, knowing that we are in the right and perfect place, right here and right now, knowing that Spirit is in the house, as Jami Lula says, and absolutely knowing the truth of who each one of us is. And so as we move into this service, knowing that all who choose to be here in person or watch online, all who choose to support Center for Spiritual Living Denver are so truly blessed. And knowing that no matter how people worship, whether it's in a mosque, a synagogue, in a center here, out in nature, or at home in bed, just knowing that the divine is always moving, living, breathing each and every one of us. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I'm so grateful for all that is, and knowing that all is good. And from that place of gratitude, I release this into that one heart, that one mind, knowing that all is well, and it is so. And so it is. My reading this morning comes from this month's Science Mind magazine, the February issue, and it's the Daily Guides by Eugene Holden, he's been a practitioner here with us many years ago, and now he's somewhere back east. But he's still doing his thing and just is such a wonderful light in the movement. Interconnection is defined as having internal connections between the parts or elements of the whole. Catch that? Having internal connections between the parts. This is something we want to be aware of. It speaks to the truth that no matter where we are, we remain connected, both physically and energetically. It is imperative to understand that we are one with everything and everybody. Our choices don't affect just us. They also affect everything in our conscious awareness. When we become aware that we are one with all of life, that awareness informs how we think and act towards others. Listen, there's no getting around the truth that we are all connected one with the other. All we need to do is open our hearts and minds to know this is the truth. Here's a simple experiment you can do to prove this. Now, the next time you are out and about, think of someone who makes you smile. Now, take that same smile and share it with the next person you see. Often they will respond with a smile back. Sometimes not, but people tend to do that. Now be aware of how their return smile makes you feel. This all started with you thinking of someone who makes you smile. Yes, we are one with all of life. All of life is one with us. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, from this thing called you, there is but one presence in the universe. Since it is in and through everything, it must be in and through you. This presence manifests itself in and through all forms, all people, all conditions. This presence is life itself. And so we have Jami Lula as our guest musician this month, and so let's hear him sing Reflecting Me.
I remember he was at CSL.
Well, once again, countless blessings to my CSL Denver community. We got some fabulous people there. Alice Nutter, and Nutter, her daughter Nutter, Lindsay, and Elzia, just one of my favorite people on the whole planet. I'm grateful for you, so. I made mistakes, true, the ignorance of youth. I dropped a bomb or two. I drank a bitter brew. I've seen what I've been told, 'cause I've been bought and sold. But I'm worth more than gold. It's time I break the mold. A flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be, and everything's always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting me. I've cheated, lied, and stole, but nothing left me whole. Just a corrupted soul on a downward roll. I've lied, I lived unfaithfully. I've wasted most of me. Now I'm surrendering to what I'm here to be. A flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be, and everything always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting me. A soul session takes a lifetime to reveal. When I wake up to the obvious I feel, I grow lighter when I let it all go. I'm one with all I know. Flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be, and everything's always reflecting me. Oh, flower never fails to make me breathe. A river's always seeking out the sea. A mountain climbs as high as it can be, and everything's always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting me. And everything's always reflecting.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love, a spiritual community teaching ancient wisdom and applying universal principles to empower our lives and the lives of others. And so if you notice, there's the light show going on with the internet here. There's that delay, but that's the movement of light. And so we acknowledge that, we recognize that. And so let's just go into an invocation. If it's easy, close your eyes and let's settle in and set things up. Infinite Spirit, source of all there is, the divine intelligence that moves through all creation. It is this sacred movement I release in these words today. And I release all thoughts of separation and all thoughts of anything that blocks that energy. Because it is in this unity, in this energy, that we feel the sacred pulse of creation. That divine love, that divine knowledge, that divine understanding that is a foundation for us to stand firmly on. Knowing that as we give ourselves to this energy, to this light, to this understanding, that we begin to build bridges and that we are guided and provided with wisdom of the ages. And so we call forth that energy, that wisdom, that energy right here, right now. We know that God itself is here, moving through us, as us, and allowing us to breathe. And so in that, we rest, we take breath and life in one fell swoop, and together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
And so it is. And so first and foremost, I want to thank you again for being here, and I want to recognize, although there are parties in our midst, not in this room, but in our midst, that does not, fail to realize the significance of honoring all people.
Yes.
And so I want to say, today we honor Black History Month. And when all the other months come, we honor those too. Because we understand that it is the unity that makes us strong, not the division. Not the division. And so when we start this month of February, this month that's normally known for romantic interludes, if you will, Valentine's Day and such, we, excuse me, I'm getting choked up already.
Come on.
We have this month's theme set as the divine interconnection of all life. And isn't that what I believe the essence of Valentine's Day is? This way of sharing your love, your empathy, your compassion for another. Not just a romantic interlude, but a lifetime interlude to show respect and love for everything and everybody. And so this morning, we are going to begin that journey by just looking at the miracle of connections. The miracle of connections. Now, we live in a fragmented world where right now there's a lot of energy being placed on self and the rugged individual and I can do it myself and all these things that go against the call of nature. There is nothing in the universe that operates on its own except for one thing, and that is the supreme intelligence of the universe that goes by many names: Spirit, God, Allah, Yahweh. Pick a name that resonates with you and stick with that name. Don't worry about what somebody else calls it, because you have to feel it. It has to enlighten your life. So we identify it as that supreme intelligence. that divine spirit that moves. It is the only thing that is one. And guess what? There is a statement somewhere, many places, that says God and I are one. So there is no separation between that one thing. And so when we look at this idea of being connected, we're already connected. And it's a miracle when you really understand what that means. You know, connection is not just a social construct. That's how we set it up now, kind of like a social construct. Oh, who are you connected with? You know, what group you in? What chat room do you hang out in? You know, this connection now is a social construct. But at the very foundation of creation, there was a connection that has never and will never be rescinded. Now, in this day and age, when we are all technologically advanced and we're beginning to understand the universe and ourselves at such deep levels, there's this thing now that comes out, and you've heard me talk about it before, and I'm going to mention it again right now, called quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement. And what does quantum entanglement entail? Or what does it describe? It says that once two particles or entities of light, and guess what? We are light. Jesus said, I am the way and the light. This you can do as well. Whatever I do, you can do this and more. So we are all lights of the world. And when we look at that and say from this quantum entanglement point, that once two things are correlated together, once two particles of light are tied together in a frequency, in a vibration, in a cycle, that they can never, ever, ever be separated, even if they are millions of miles away. Now, don't take my word for it. Go look it up. Go look up quantum entanglement and look at what the theory says, and then look at what the experiments have demonstrated. It demonstrates that we are all connected. That there was one thing, that one thing expressed itself throughout the creation. There was no way for it to create itself without expressing itself in everything that was created. No way. And so we have to begin to look at that earnestly. Earnestly. Now, there's a famous ecologist, some of y'all might know of him, called Chief Seattle. The city of Seattle, Washington is named after Chief Seattle. Chief Seattle said this: humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Now, this is a Native American teaching that is pretty much throughout all of their foundations, regardless of the tribe. They understand Mother Earth and the connection to Mother Earth and Father Sky as one. And so they refer to the fox as Brother Fox. And they refer to the eagle as Brother Eagle or Uncle Eagle or Grandpa Bear, because they understand this connection. And it's kind of miraculous. We have these systems of ancient teachings, and unfortunately, a lot of them have been given bad names. And so they've become denigrated and discarded. But in ancient traditions, these things that they call totems, right? And Native Americans have all these animal totems. Those totems were not something that they worshiped. They looked at nature, they looked at life and said, there is something in that thing, that plant, that animal, that person even, that exhibits the goodness and greatness of God that I can't do. I would love to fly without going in a plane, like an eagle. But that's not happening. So when I see that eagle soar and just lightly flap its wings and cover such great distance with ease, I close my eyes and I feel that connection. I feel that oneness. And it inspires me to say, I may not be able to fly like that, but I can fly. I can fly with my spirit, my kindness, my goodness, my creativity. And that is the miracle of this connection to God, the King, Queen, Spirit of all things. And I think one thing that Chief Seattle, a lot of people may overlook, Seattle was an ecologist before they probably even had the word ecologist. They understood the interconnections of the buffalo and the river and the plants and us. And that's why he said, everything we do to the web, we do to ourselves. And if we look around today, we need this kind of mindset more than ever. Now, I don't want to call no names or call nobody out. But I just want to say, in the last 10 days, 11 days, 12 days, I lose count. And I look at what has taken place of the untangling of the web. Not by accident, but deliberately beginning to untangle the web that God has made. There's a statement that says that no man tear asunder the greatness and glory of God. And so when we understand our infinite connection, we don't worry about that. We don't worry about that because we know that once we find who we are in relationship and connection to the divine, all else fades away. Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk, said this: people normally cut reality into compartments and so are unable to see the interdependence of all phenomena. To see on it all and all in one is to break through the great barrier which narrows one's perception of reality or the attachment to the false view of self. When are we going to stop following this whole rugged individualist idea? Self-made man, self-made woman, pull myself up by my bootstraps. I ain't got no boots, so I can't pull myself up by my bootstraps. There are a lot of people that are saying that this day. And we look at them and we act as if we're not connected to them. We're acting as if whatever they do won't affect us. It might not affect us immediately, but it will. Jesus said, I am my brother and sister's keeper. And then there was a period after that. There was no and or no but, or there was a complete thought. I am my brother and sister's keeper. Because we are connected. And so we want to begin today to prepare for the future. We want to prepare today for the future. Now, I'm not telling you to be present in the moment, because that's the only present that we have. But Malcolm X says the only way the future belongs to you is that you prepare for it now. There's no other way. There's no other way for me to learn another language, to create a foundation, to get a new job, to find a new mate, if I don't start preparing for it today. If I don't prepare for my new mate or a new relationship with my current mate, if I don't do it today, when I meet them in the future, it's going to be futile. This is the power and presence of God. Because God says, I am that I am. Meaning that there is nothing but me, God, the living spirit, the Almighty. So there's, even when I look at something that looks completely horrible, completely unsurmountable, completely uncomprehendable, it's still God. But as Thich Nhat Hanh said, it's this, how do we begin to shift our perspective to find it? You're all familiar with the story of the Chineseman who was in the farm, had a farm, and the horse ran away, and they say, oh, that's bad luck. And he comes back with a herd of horses. Then his son falls off the roof, and oh, that's bad luck. That's a bad situation. And then the next day, the army comes to take him to war, and he can't go because his leg is broken. And every time they say this is good, he said, well, maybe, maybe not. Because he understood that there's this thing called future. I'm going to prepare for it now and stay here. And I don't know what God is unfolding for me or my family or this world, but I do know that it's good. That in the end, all of it will work out to be good. And that's what we have to begin to exude. That's what we have to exude, because if we don't, Ernest Holmes says this. Ernest Holmes says, we are what we think. We are what we think. James Allen said, as a person thinketh, so are they. But the punchline is, as they continue to think, so shall they remain. So just because you have one thought that's good, you got to think all of them good. Even the bad ones are good because they're moving you towards something that's better if you're in tune, if you're self-aware, if you're connected, if you understand that miracle of connection. That's a mighty, mighty lesson. Mighty, mighty lesson. Springtime is coming. Thank God. I know everybody everywhere saying that. I was in Florida, and a friend sent a picture from Panama City Beach, which is like, I don't know, an hour or so from my home in Tallahassee. It was a beautiful picture. It had like 4 inches, 5 inches of snow on the beach and the wave coming in. And then right in the middle was a strip of sand. Showing connectedness, even though, there's the same water there in 2 different forms, all connected. Looking totally out of place, but we got to totally accept it. That's the interconnection of life. That is the miracle of living together as one, whether we want to, whether we believe it or not. Or not. And how do we get in touch with that? Well, we know that the best way, as Rumi says, the poet Rumi says, silence is the language of God. All else is a poor translation. To sit there and look at that picture in silence was all it took for me to say, there's something else going here and I need to be quiet and listen. And understand this connection between me, you, and the entire cosmos. And so when we begin to do that, when we want to do that earnestly, we have to determine how are we going to engage? What are we going to do to engage this miracle connection? So I'm going to give you 3 things that are surefire surefire to kickstart it. Some of y'all may have seen them old pictures when they had the car, you had to crank it.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't have the choke just right, if you didn't have the right amount of gas, and you didn't turn that crank at just the right speed, nothing, it'd sputter. It'll act like it's gonna start, but there was no starting. But when you got all those things in alignment and allowed the interconnection of all of it to work, the air, the gas, the combustion, things start moving. That's what we want to do with our life. We want to get it in sync, all connected and moving. And these are the three things that we need to do. The first and foremost things in terms of this miracle of connection, we have to connect with the divine. That's first and foremost. First and foremost. Now, as strange as it might sound, there's no one way to do that. So if anyone, I will categorically tell you, if anyone come to you and say, if you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong, I ain't gonna say they're wrong, but don't listen. Don't listen. Because there's just as many people are in this room, in this city, in this planet. There's a different approach to everything that we do. We don't all express love the same way. We don't all cry the same way. We don't all laugh at the same jokes. But we do all laugh, we do all cry, and we do all love. That is that interconnection. That's the miracle of that. And that happens when we connect with God at our level. At our level. Now, in the Bible, in John 15:5, there's this verse that goes like this. God says, I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. That is the connection that we need to remember. Apart from God, we're like a boat in the ocean without a rudder. We're just aimlessly going around. But when we connect with God, the rudder that does the guiding and allows you to move and position yourself with the wind, to be interconnected with the winds that blow, the storm becomes a little bit easier to manage. A little bit easier to manage. And it is through this connection that we begin to get clarity. In this connection, we become rooted in what we are inevitably classified as children of the Most High God. Which means anybody that is a parent, no matter how that shows up, whether they're a surrogate parent, step parent, foster parent, any kind of parent, you know your job, your passion, your love, your anguish is to make sure that that child has everything it needs to flourish. And sometimes that love shows up as a popsicle, and sometimes that love shows up, I'm taking your cell phone away. I want you to go in the room and think about it for a minute. That's the kind of connection. When we understand that connection with God, we begin to look at all of the challenges that we face as a necessary process for us to mature and grow into a more loving, more caring individual who understands that I do not do this alone. I do it with all of you. Because that gives us the opportunity to discover our purpose. That's why we laugh at different things. That's why we cry at different things, because we all have different missions, or we all represent different parts in this one thing that's moving through space. This one thing that's moving through space. Now, once we've got a connection with God and we understand that and we're ready to deal with that, the next thing that we have to understand and get connected with, and I'm sure everybody already know the answer in their mind, is yourself. You need to get in touch with you, minus the TV, minus the cell phone, minus your partner, minus your clothes, or anything that you identify with as you that is not you. And you got to get in touch with that. I can't do it for you. It's hard enough for me to do it for me. If I'm trying to do it for somebody else, that's going to be a real problem. You have to do this work for yourself to understand that connection. And when we can sit and be still and just marvel at this human body of us, it should be easy. We got respiratory systems and circulatory system and elimination systems and hearts and lungs and eyes all working together for one thing, this body. When any of those parts start fighting against each other or going against one another, there's a special word that they come up with for that. It's called dis-ease. That's the special word when your one entity that's made up of billions and billions of parts start not cooperating, not understanding the interconnectedness, it gets sick. It gets tired. It gets unclear. It gets unaffected, ineffective. We must get in tune with ourselves. We have to sit down and unplug from all of these different things that those who may not have our best interests got us plugged into. And for me, that's hard. I'm a TV movie kind of guy. And if you tell me I got to get rid of my movies, oh, we got a problem. But I must realize that every movie I watch is planting a seed in my mind. It's planting an image in my brain. And if I'm not careful, if that movie is not telling me about the goodness and glory of God, the oneness of all things, I will begin to see that everywhere I look and then reflect that, as Jami said in his music. I will be reflecting that negative, separated image to everything I see. You know the story. They say if all you got is a hammer, everything look like a nail. That's what happens when you're not able to separate. When you're not able to understand. So we must begin to have a connection with ourselves, to be self-aware, to be self-acceptance. You can be self-aware. I think most of us can work that part out if we sit for a minute. But this self-acceptance part is the challenge. Because so-and-so got more attention than I did. I got to try to act like so-and-so now. But I ain't so-and-so. I don't know what caused so-and-so to be so-and-so. Now, I may be able to glean some light from so-and-so and figure out how I'm going to reflect it back out, but I got to make it my own. I got to be my own person. You have to be your own person. That's when the connection works. I'm sure we've all felt it where we've gone to somebody and felt it. Ooh, I feel a connection. That's what we're talking about. And then last but not least is I have to connect with everybody. You have to connect with others. Einstein said this. Einstein, go back one. Einstein, I did put my Einstein in there. There you go. I had it out of order. I was going to say, oh, look at that. I wasn't connected. Einstein said this: a human being is part of a whole, called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to effect for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion that embraces all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. We have to begin to do it. It's hard. God knows it's hard. I mean, we look at what's going on around us now. We see some people, boy, it's hard to love them. You just want to tie a bone around their neck and call the dogs. You know, and you want to say, oh, I'm expressing love, I'm letting them play with the dogs. But we really have to begin to widen our view and look at things different perspectives so we can connect with others who are different from us, who think different from us, who act different from us. And if we're doing our part, Marianne Williams says this. I got them all out of order, but Marianne Williams says, and as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others. We have to be, now more than any other time, we have to do this. Because if we just reflect on what's happened in the past 2 weeks, I can't even imagine what's going to happen in 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades. So let's really begin to do this. Let's really begin to understand this connection of all things. And the best way to do that is through sacred service. That gives us an opportunity to do all three. And I know I'm going long, but I think this is a very important point that we must get a hold of now, because train is leaving the station. And if we don't get together and get some tickets and get on this train and start reflecting some other kind of light, it's going to be hard to get some light. So let's begin to do that and understand through sacred service. And then after we do that, we can step into the last thing that we want to do at all times, in all places, is forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others, as hard as it may be, as painful as it may be. I may not want to, you know, I ain't going to even say it, but we got to work on it. Because we know for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. If I come at you angrily, you're going to come right back at me angrily. If I come at you with love, you may buck it a little bit, but if I keep coming with love, your position is going to change. So let's begin to do that. Let's begin to connect with God, to connect with ourselves, and to connect with everybody else through sacred service, love, understanding, self-awareness, commitment, all these things that we need to make life one, which it already is. So it's more for us to recognize that. So as we close, let this day be the first day of the rest of our lives. Let this day be the rest of our time, be an anchor or catapult into the rest of our lives, living in love and service and forgiveness. Because if we can do that, we can really begin to be exactly who we were created to be, emanations of the Most High God, endowed with powers and creative abilities beyond all imagination. Let us pray. Heavenly Mother, Father God, that complete whole that can never be separated, the yin and yang of life, the up and down, the ebb and flow, that allows life to be as it is. If you take away any part of that equation, you begin to mess with the fabric of creation. And we know that that's not possible. It is what it is. And we know that as we begin to understand and be quiet and listen to the word of God within, we can connect with all things. And so it is in that understanding that I call forth right now for each and every one of us in this room or online that may hear this later, a divine intervention in our consciousness to awaken to the oneness of all things, to awaken to the kindness that is shown to us, that we show it to others. On that moment of understanding where we sit quietly to work through our issues, to work through our problems, to really begin to work this teaching. Because if we do, we will begin to see miracles before our eyes. And so with that, I just give thanks for this moment, for this time, for this opportunity to be an emissary of light, to shine forth the goodness and glory of God in all that is. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. And so we have these call to actions as always. So we have this first one is this week, reach out to someone you have not been in contact with for a while and give them a call. You ain't got this, hey, I just thought about you, just call it. You don't have to, if you don't want to talk or you don't have nothing to say, just do that. Then monitor your thoughts and feelings this week about the other, whoever you consider the other to be, and then journal what comes up for you. And I'm sure right now we all got a bunch of others. And last but not least, spend some time in nature this week and feel the connection. Just to be a reminder of what we're working with here. And to help anchor that, we have this affirmation that says, oh, it got cut off. I am divinely connected to all of life. Love flows through me, wisdom guides me, and joy uplifts me. I embrace the miracles of connection in every moment, and so it is. And so it is. And so now it's that time of sacred giving to support this idea, to support this community, and for us to really begin to continue to take this teaching, this understanding, this service to a broader audience. And so there are many different ways you can give. You can go to the website and click the donate button. Of course, you can give here in the center. You can text to give, or you can send a check or a money order to the P.O. box. But however you give, please do. And if it feels good, we anchor this idea, this action, by placing our hand on our hearts and repeating our affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is, amen. So it is, amen. And so now Alice is going to come up and give us some announcements.
Okay, we still have some issues of the January, February Science Mind magazine over here. Those are $7, and we have a couple old ones. Actually, they may be all gone now. I'll have to bring some back from home. And also for those who have given this year, giving letters or giving emails went out this week. And so you should be getting an email from Trudy Adamovich, Adamovich. She is our bookkeeper. And so check your spam. Maybe, I think they went out on Tuesday. So just check. And if you didn't, then we can get Trudy to resend it. So just let us know. And today, right after service, we've got the meditation and coffee. And so Reverend Elzia will lead us in some meditation, and then we'll have some discussion. I know that I really look forward to that, to being able to share all of that. Mark your calendars for Sunday, February 23rd for our monthly community cafe. Reverend Elzia will be making a presentation on sacred astrology, a brief history of its teachings, and an introduction to this practice that serves as a tool to understand patterns and cycles in life. You won't want to miss this. It's really good. And astrology is very interesting. Basically, I mean, really in relative to these times going on. So if you would like to hear some good news of the world, to affirm the good in the world, we have a Facebook page on the good news. This program is put together by New Thought Media Network and airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or you can watch it anytime during the week on our Facebook page. Just go to our Center for Spiritual Living Denver Facebook page and check it out. And as we've said before, New Thought Media Network has over 40 hours of weekly broadcast programs, so they have something for everyone. And we are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen to support CSL Denver by showing up on Sundays or watching our services online. We know that as we move through the rest of this year, the divine beloved is guiding us. And that's one thing to remember, and especially what Elzia's talk was about today. We need to keep our connection with the divine. Just absolutely know the truth of who we are. And thank you for joining us. And let's close out with Karen Drucker singing, I Am So Grateful.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that